Hello guys, my name is John Michael Reyes and this is the tutor or somewhat I'll gonna teach you about the chapter 2. It is all about configuring a switch or a router or a network to be precise, and we all know that you can't build a small network or simply a network if you can configure or if you don't know the basic configurations. That's why I'm here to teach you how to do that. But first, let me tell you about console, SSH, and aux. By the way, connection by using a console port or consoles are by connecting routers console port to a workstation through a console cable. The console port is the management port which is used by administrators to log into a router directly, that without using a network connection you require a terminal emulator application like hyperterminal or PATI or exotherm or other stuff, then to connect to router or switch. Console port connection is a way to connect the router when a router cannot be accessed over the network. Somewhat it is just like I have a video, you can just watch it on the YouTube and other stuff because I'll gonna upload it. Then it is somewhat I have there in that video I have a console cable that you should connect in order to configure a router. Then the other one would be connection by using auxiliary port or aux port. By using remote computers through a modem that calls another modem connected to the router with a cable using the auxiliary port on the router. Auxiliary port or aux port allows a direct non-network connection for the router to the router. From a remote location, the auxiliary port or aux port, as we can say that, use a connector type to which modems can plug into, which allow an administrator from a remote location to access the router like a console port. And aux port is somewhat used in some telephones and other stuff because in order to connect with them, you should, I think it's somewhat for telephony and other calls and medias. Then let's go for the telnet and SSH. Then connection by using protocols like telnet, SSH is somewhat the router can be managed over the network. It using a TCP/IP protocol like telnet, SSH, and others. Just like let me think. Other stuff like telnet and SSH. Yeah, the HTTP and or HTTPS, or the HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Then the HTTPS is somewhat the secured way of HTTP. Then telnet has developed in the early days of Unix operating system to manage computers remotely. A telnet client and server application ships with Cisco iOS software and most computers operating systems. SSH is a more secure way to configure router. Since the SSH communication is encrypted, Cisco iOS also has a HTTP server to manage web-based communication with the router. And now I'll gonna teach you about the basic configurations of the Cisco, or we will now configure a switch and a router and give it some IP address and other stuff. Then first we need to click on end devices. We need end devices. So first of all, we're gonna click the PC. Then after that, click the PC anywhere. As you can see, there's a PC now. Then we'll have one router and one switch. The switch that we need, then the router that we need. Any router, as you can see, there are switch and there are router. Then in order to configure them in this packet tracer, you can configure them by just clicking in here, but then go to the CLI and as you can see, you can configure it in here. Then after that, somewhat it will just gonna pop up and do whatever it wants. Then, oh, sorry for that. Then let's go back to then as you can see in here, you can just configure the PC and the other stuff. Then first of all, we're gonna connect the console port to the switch in order to configure the switch. Then let's go to the terminal, and as you can see, this is the bit, the speed bit, then other stuff. Then as you can see, we're already connected with the switch. Then I will type enable command is for something that you can go to privilege exec mode, then configure terminal in order to go to the global exec mode. Then after that, we will gonna change the name of the switch. So host names S1. As you can see, the switch has changed its host name. Then second one would be banner mode. Banner mode is somewhat just like a access only. Banner mode is somewhat just like a message of the day or mot of the day in order to give them some information or warning. Then after that is we will gonna secure the console line and the VTY lines. Then line console 0, then password in order to get the password, then the password is get, then login, then exit. Then we will gonna go to the line VTY. The line VTY would be line VTY 015. Then password, the password is get again, then login, then exit. Then after that, I forgot to mention the privilege exec mode pass, or the privilege exec mode pass. So it will be enable secret get. Get is the password that we need to enter. So let's try it next time. Then we're gonna give the switch IP address. So it would be interface VLAN 1 for the default switch gateway. Then that would be a 192.168.1.2. Then the subnet, 2.0. Then the subnet mask is 255.245.245.0. Oh, sorry for that. I need to give it an IP address. Then bad subnet mask, that would be a 1, I think. Oh, bad subnet mask again. It's just like that. Then subnet mask for 24. What did it want? Then 1, then 1. As you can see, that's why I'm wrong, because of that would be the network address, and let's put it then the no shutdown command. Then after that, it's all configured. Then exit, then service, password, encryption in order to encrypt all the passwords. Then same goes with the router. In order to configure the router, you should also go for that. Then terminal, then okay, then let's press no. Then as you can see, we're in the router, so we will just gonna do the same way. Then hostname R1, then enable secret get, then banner mode warning, just gonna do that. Then line console 0, then password get, then login, then exit, then line VPY, secure to skin in order to secure all the ports, then password, get, login, exit, then service, password, encryption, then after that interface G0 0. There's no type because of, so let's just exit and other stuff. Then as you can see, we've already configured the router. So that's all for the basic configurations of the Cisco. Then goodbye.